everybody. Smokescreen time. Dan.
I'm Dan.
Craig.
I'm Craig.
Tony. Tom. And there was a bumblebee that just flew through
Yeah.
here. We're out in the western regions of the small town of Marion at Craig's homestead.
Yeah.
Born and raised
Beautiful
here.
out here. Yeah.
We're not born in the house, but
No, I think when I was a baby, we actually had a different place. But by the time I was cognizant, I would. This was our house that we lived in.
So we're going to talk about the writer's strike.
Right?
Big strike in Hollywood.
Well,
The thing I
usually when you're
shit. Dang it.
but it's
Wait.
more
Okay.
beer,
Today's episode, we're going to do beer.
beer.
All right.
beer.
We're going to do a couple of things. Back to smoking, Dad.
Candy,
And candy.
beer and candy. Let's do a show about beer and candy.
Now, a lot of
Tony's
people
probably
don't know that Smokescreen, the four of us have our own union too. And so we have to negotiate. So we actually stand with the writers on this
We're
one.
with the writers.
We stand with them.
So part of our beer test, I just have a bunch of old beer at my house. This is a hazy IPA, which I'm starting with because I am not a fan of most IPAs. So I don't want to
What does
IPA
hazy mean?
IPA is very
IPA-ish,
hoppy.
I don't know.
I
Hoppy.
wonder if that's the one we should have started with or not.
Oh, I just hit a microphone.
That's
Craig
good.
here, or Tony, thank you.
And we'll give a review. I thought that would be kind
Well,
of
This
Yeah.
is what is this called?
This is, they got beautiful labels. Lagunitas.
Lagunitas.
Am I pronouncing that right?
Sure.
Little something hazy and little doggies on the
Lagunitas.
picture.
Well-
Very colorful.
Smells.
That's what you're supposed to do. Smell it.
I don't
Swish it
think so.
around.
Are you
Yeah.
supposed
Spit it out.
Smells. I don't know. We got
Spit it out.
I
Good.
got a lot of foam in mine.
Dan was over last summer. I forget if either of you were there, and we had I forgot what the beer brand was, but it came out a little bit lumpy, actually, like
I think it curdled.
curdled or something.
The
It was
extra
old.
chunky style.
It
It was probably
stout.
the chocolate milk stout.
Oh, yeah, I think it was.
I love
Well,
it.
you were saying how you rated your son's college refrigerator, which was just full of all these unique
Crazy
micro.
cases and cases of beer that they didn't drink. And I
Yeah.
said, if I'm helping you
Well-aged.
move, I'm taking half of this shit home, even though I'm not a big beer drinker.
All the ones, and I love the labels. When I go in the store, I love looking at the labels of the microbrewers.
There's
'cause-
some really creative
Yeah.
labels.
yeah.
That's half the fun.
So taste-wise, again, it's okay, but I don't like.
It's
Tony's a dark beer guy. Craig's dark beer. Are you more of a medium?
I kind of like a light, or I'm okay with like a Guinness.
All right, that's Tony's
this
favorite.
is very warm.
Yeah.
That's your fault.
Which
say it-
I've read for a lot of foreign beers, it's meant to be drunk.
Oh,
Close
Okay.
to room temperature.
German beers
Right.
are more room temperature.
And I found that if
Oh,
it's
it's
too
good.
cold, it diminishes the taste.
totally
Much
can.
like
A writer
Urine.
gave me the word diminished, by the way.
But you know what? And
Nobody's listening.
the
nobody drinks urine anymore. Okay.
I totally missed that one. But like in Europe, I don't know if they slam down beers like they do here in America. I mean, a lot of times it's like I had a friend over yesterday. He's like, and she was like, "Oh, what the heck, New Glarus? I don't want any of this fancy stuff. Give me just something cheap." And
I
it's
don't think the point over there is to see how many you can get down
Right,
as fast.
right.
I think they are savored a little more.
Lagunitas. Lagunitas.
An IPA. I've never been a big fan of IPAs, although a good one.
What it, no,
It's a good one.
Indian Pale Ale. I don't know
Indian
much
Pale
about
Ale.
it.
I don't
Pale ale, yeah,
India.
and
Okay.
Why?
What does that mean?
The reason that it's a pale ale is because they needed to ship it around, like what's that little hub of Africa that they had
The
to
Horn?
the Horn of Africa. They had to kind of go around that,
Okay.
and the only way that they could have beer that would last that long is if it was a super high IPA rate. That's why it's called India
Really?
IPA, because it made such an extra long
It's very-
trip,
and I
and
understand.
that is not a bullshit.
This sounds like that. I like it.
It's
I'll
very,
take it.
very hoppy beer. I've heard it described as
Yep,
a lot of
very,
a very
very
high
hoppy.
hop content.
Okay.
Anybody ever play the game Bullshit, kind of a drinking game around a campfire where, like, I forget how it goes, but like we each have a name of something, a farm animal, and then I say like cow shit, and you say bullshit. I'm like, who shit? And you say turtle shit. And he's like, bullshit. And then you say, well, who shit? And he says, kitten shit. And then you're the kitten,
gotta
and you're
keep-
like, bullshit. And then he says, well, who shit? And you say, horse shit or whatever.
I don't.
Never mind.
It doesn't. It sounds like a funny idea for a game, Tom, but I don't know how you win.
Yeah.
It's
sounds
a drinking game.
Bullshit.
You win by getting
bullshit.
Like
Somebody
who's on
gets pounded.
first?
There's a
Kind of
little-
punch it.
Yeah.
There's a little sweetness to this.
Yeah.
There's a
Right.
little bit of sweetness. It's not as hoppy as I anticipated, especially for what's not an IPA? This isn't an IPA.
What is it?
This is a little something hazy.
I swear it says IP on there somewhere.
Where limited release. But it also says right underneath the label here how to pronounce it.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Read it.
That's too tiny.
It is. Use the writer's strike.
Lagunitas,
Lagunitas.
Mm.
out in Petaluma, California.
Please find
I
the
can't
word
tell.
IPA on there somewhere.
Is
I
there a little
swear.
grapefruit or something in that?
Well, you always get that with an IPA. You get
Okay.
that grapefruit taste. I get the same thing.
Is that from the hops?
I think
It's
so.
from the
I think
grapefruit.
you're right.
They probably
Um,
put grapefruit.
This
in
is actually a little creamy too for an IPA, if it is.
I'm usually.
I would have this again. I
yeah.
would definitely have this again.
I don't mind the temperature either. It's not quite body temperature yet. So
Tom, I hate to disappoint you, but this is not an IPA.
Whatever.
there
It's
goes our
ale.
sponsor.
But
goes
it does
our
have that little
sponsor.
grapefruit taste, which all hoppy beers do.
Very nice.
All right. So back to our
What's next?
next episode of beer here. This is a dark.
Mm.
Tony, you're gonna hear that. Have to dump that or chug it.
Can I dump it in the
You can dump it right in the grass
In the
there.
grass?
Yeah.
This is a nice dark, creamy
Okay.
Stella. I don't know if they make this
Send it
all
in
the
for some.
time. So I got a few bottles that have been sitting in the basement.
Stella Artois.
And Stella used to be a sponsor for the film festival for a couple of years.
Yeah, that was
So it
fantastic.
was nice to
Very
bring
generous.
in
Nice.
a barrel of beer at the PAC.
Okay.
And this is a
Ooh.
lager. It's
Now I
dark.
could smell the chocolate.
Nothing fancy on the bottle other than a
Does it
nice
say
gold
IPA on
label. It does not say IPA.
Is there chocolate?
I don't know.
That's an interesting
Whatever the bottle
taste.
says.
I don't really get much of a scent off of this one at all,
Mm.
honestly.
No, it's not as strong a taste. Premium dark lager.
That other one had quite a bit more
Mm-hmm.
scent.
Hey guys, look at me. My pipe is still going.
Okay.
Not
All right.
well, but
I
Now,
like it.
You'd be hard
I-
pressed to say, is this A&W root beer? Or is
Looking
it
at
beer, right?
put it over some ice cream, see what happens.
Mm.
I bet somebody's done that before.
I've done a beer for it before like that.
It's a Sunday afternoon.
I always thought,
I don't have
I always
to
thought
drive
lagers
anymore.
were lighter in color.
This is a lager?
It says it's a lager,
Get
a
out.
midnight lager, but I always thought it was a lager was a paler,
I'm not good with the name.
lighter.
Dang it! At one time, I
Porter's
knew what the
lager.
heck the lagers, the difference
Whoa.
between a lager and a pilsner and all that stuff.
Mm.
Can't remember now.
Somebody of our billions of listeners, somebody please text
In the
us
comments.
right
You
now.
know-
What the hell
Yeah,
is a
Comments
lager
down
mean?
below.
And we could totally have a brewmaster come on the show sometime
That's
too,
a
as a
big
guest.
You know what? Tony and I were at Central Waters a few weeks ago over by Amherst, Stevens Point. Oh my goodness, what a gorgeous facility.
Great
Craig, I've
place
been
to
there with
visit
Craig
if you're in
before.
Wisconsin.
We got to get you there. It's a beautiful spot, wonderful beer.
Could we
They
record
offer
there?
They offer tours on
Probably
Friday
could.
and Saturdays at 3, I think,
Okay.
and they don't reserve, so it's just kind of a hit or miss. But a really cool facility.
Great night out.
And they have a nice big outdoor area that maybe they'd let us record and
Yeah.
sample a few beers and give us a ride home.
Yeah.
I honestly, Tom, I think that's how we're going to actually make anything of this podcast, is to get a chance to do some free
There you go.
promotionals at different places, and
Right.
then maybe get a case of beer out of it.
We're at the Q-tip factory.
Oh my gosh.
Free box of Q-tips.
What do you need this
Great.
week?
Anyway, so that's a darker one. You guys gave it an A-OK.
I guess. Yeah.
It's not the one I would choose
Mhm.
first.
Well, that
Would you-
surprises me because you are such a dark aficionado.
It to me it looks dark. It doesn't taste dark.
It's super smooth too. There's nothing gritty
Very
about
smooth.
it at
Right.
all. And
Like a
Gritty,
Guinness.
what kind
yeah.
of beer you've been drinking?
well, some of those stouts can get almost have a little bit of grit to their.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a little coffee
Substance
sludge in
to
the
it.
bottom of your
Mm.
cup. By the way, you did get your coffee this morning
I did.
at that shop? Have you been there a number of times? or-
You know, I haven't. Sweet Layer in downtown Menasha. No, I have not been there. Very nice.
coffee place.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody! There's
Welcome.
Kurt.
Our producers brought some cheese curds for
Yes.
us to try as well.
You know-
bought some yesterday, and I stole them from him. So I
Kurt, you know you're
Trying
sort of
to
on
do not
camera
allow
here.
cheese curds.
Are you
Kurt?
going to be shooting?
Not right now.
You're sort of on camera and on audio, so be good for your listeners. Kurt, we shot at his shop
Actually,
first
come
time
in back
ever.
here. Come back
Come
here.
back in here.
Come back in here. Come up in the shot right here.
So we shot at Kurt's shop, CTK Precision. High-end. How do you describe high-end
Reloading equipment.
reloading equipment and gun vices and cool shit like that? But he won't let us back in there because we broke a bunch of shit, stole some shit.
We didn't do
Small
that.
fire.
He hasn't even
Got a
noticed
fight.
what we stole
Got
yet. We just did an episode about Fight Club, and I talked a little bit about a time when my little brothers stole a comic book from me
Tell us your side of
and
the story.
jumped on a motorcycle and took off.
It wasn't a comic book.
It was a little
That's
book.
how
It was Conan. It was Conan, little pocket-sized Conan
It was
book.
a hunting knife.
Oh, you guys grabbed my hunting
Took
knife.
his
So that's
hunting
twice you've given up a blade.
What a liar.
Yeah.
And we had it all
Pattern.
planned out. We had the doors propped open with sticks.
It
and-
sounds
You got that one right.
premeditated. Yeah.
We
See?
had it
Fast exit.
planned out.
And he actually chased
We
you on a
thought we
10-speed
were
bike.
in the clear. We went down to the end of the driveway, and then all of a sudden he came out and got on his bike, and we were on a motorcycle. So we were like, okay, good luck.
Wanted that
gonna
knife
work
We
back.
went off
Okay.
into the hayfield, and then he got off his bike. He started running after us, and we double backed, dropped the knife off on the porch, and left for the afternoon.
He says you locked up the house. He had to go through the wood chute,
No,
and somebody jumped him.
no, he's lying.
That was it. So it's probably 2 or 3 stories combined.
Yeah, interesting.
Because I remember you jumping out of the
Probably got
dark.
something to do with the same memories you have of the hippies and the peeing in the beer bottle.
That's a true story too. That's a true story. But the reason I wanted to get Kurt on camera here is he recently got this world record.
Yeah, congrats.
He just got a certification too for getting a world record for some shooting. Take a second and tell
That's awesome.
everybody what that is.
Yeah.
first shooter to ever shoot a clean 200 at 600 yards.
What does that mean?
It means you put all 5 of your shots in the 10 ring.
Wow.
At what distance?
On 4 targets.
600
4
yards?
targets, 600 yards.
Is
my.
that row of trees there 600 yards away?
No, it's 200.
That's
200.
200.
Maybe if that.
And what caliber rifle are they using?
6BR.
6BR. I don't know what that
I don't
means.
know what that means either.
Okay.
Are you guys shooters at all?
I have shot, but not at a
That would be
competitive
something that we
level.
could try sometime
Oh, I would
too.
love
Just
that.
fascinating
Yeah.
back.
This is
Wow.
the okay. Lot of powder, small bore. Am I looking at this
It's
right?
like a 243 if you know what that is.
243. Yep.
Yeah, 243. Yeah.
It's not
I like a
240.
242.
I use it for
And
242,
what
244.
did you do
kind of guy.
that contributed to this record? Did you made the bullet? You made the bullet
I made a gun. I made everything.
Wow.
and a world record.
Yep.
Congratulations.
That is amazing.
And
That is
these
so cool.
things here too, he's got little machines that he's building that'll bring that thing, make it flat, grind it to a flat, make this thing annealed so that it's softer than it normally is. And it's crazy because there's a machine that you can kind of go bam, and it makes this thing red hot in that little bit of time. If you were to touch it, you'd burn the crap out of
Is it
yourself.
one of those electrical coil thingies? That's
Yeah.
wow.
So how does it run on magnets?
Yeah, it's a magnet, but
Induction.
induction
kind
annealing is what they call it.
And then there's a little centricity gauge that keeps
Concentricity.
That's a made up
concentricity
word.
Concentricity gauge.
Concentricity.
But yeah, thank you for telling
That's
us
awesome.
a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, we
he's,
got to
very
see
cool.
more of that.
But yeah, he was the first person in history to hit that 200 mark.
Wow.
So I'm pretty proud of my brother for that.
Unreal.
Even though he was an asshole when we were kids, and
Stealing knives and
he
comic
would
books.
steal comic books and knives, and then
I like how the story changes.
yeah, whatever,
Come back
whatever,
next week.
whatever.
I sure hope your younger brother Paul Lumpy shows up later because we
Oh,
are very
God.
different. No, we stole a Playboy and then right, whatever.
No,
back
they
to the
did
beer
cool.
before
He
the-
did.
Brother, that's awesome.
He did tear one of my Conans in half, though.
Okay.
And actually, he didn't tear it in half. He tore like the first 20 pages, and that's in half.
Yeah.
It's like, good lord.
All right.
That was
Would you
not
do that in a
good.
bar?
I do all
You
that.
know, and
Start
I
a
know,
fight.
I know that
The
we
other guy's beer in port and get punched.
in the writer's strike
Mm.
episode here that we're doing currently, I did write down candy too.
Yeah.
I gotta need to talk about candy.
Craig, you're gonna have to do your
Yep,
own there.
I gotta. Let me finish this one.
I'm not,
As far as the dark Stella, I kind of like it. I don't think it's really that
Mhm.
punchy or different as far as a dark beer is concerned, though.
now this regular Stella that I just poured, I'm not a beer person. I'm more of a hard liquor.
Mhm.
But this has a really good taste right now. Partly, I think, from the stupid pipe.
Oh
That
yeah.
it's given
Really?
a weird, unusual flavor. Or
It's a very
texture.
interesting taste.
So what is this? Is this a
I couldn't find
pilsner, a
where it said
lager,
on
or is it
I
just
don't know.
a
Stella Artois is it's a Belgian beer, number
Belgian.
one.
Okay.
But it's also I don't think it's it says imported lager beer though,
Now I thought,
so it could be a lager.
yeah, because
It
I
must
thought
be.
a Belgian, like I don't know much, but I thought I like the Blue Moon with an orange in it. I thought
Oh,
that
yeah.
is that Belgian,
I think
or
it
it's
might be.
cloudy. I thought that was a trademark of it, but
Again, if you're a beer
Again,
expert,
This one's
text us.
extremely different than the last
Very-
one though.
yeah.
Very different.
Well,
in color.
it's a
and
very
for both
lighter.
being lagers, this is light. the other
I do
one-
like
And it
light.
goes back to that sweetness too, if you
Mhm.
notice that at all.
And this is
If I
also
was thinking properly, I would have packed up. I've got a half dozen Stella Artois glasses that they gave away at. Was
Yeah.
it the 18th or the 19th? They
We've
gave away.
at least
like
twice. At least twice we've given them away.
Was it
at the-
twice?
oh God! If not every time we've had Stella there.
Okay.
Um,
yeah, the nice goblets, and if you need
with
one
the
or
gold ring.
Yeah,
on them. They're
yeah.
very beautiful.
That's
Yeah.
cool. You got them as sponsors.
The
two, Jason.
and they were a big sponsor at Sundance too. So the first time I saw Stella and they were giving these things away, it's like, oh my God, I got to get all these home. So how the heck do you bring all these
Yeah.
doggone glasses home? And then we get them here, and that was just fantastic.
Very nice.
So what was the second item on your list from the Writers Guild?
Well, we did write down candy, but I think we're almost doing a disservice to candy if we do an episode on
short.
that right now,
Because
because
the humorous context of men smoking, drinking beer, and then talking about candy.
it's candy.
We're at about almost 19, 20 minutes, so we could talk
Yeah,
about
let's
cheese
just kind
curds
of-
for a little bit and then do candy in another episode.
Absolutely.
The pre-show planning that we do for this is immense, and
You can probably tell.
days and hours, and
Oh my God. I think it was a year ago we started, hey, how are we going to do this episode?
what if we talk about cheese?
What if we punch each other with cheese?
You know, I don't know if they've ever done a cheese curds
Can't do that.
and beer episode where it's like the two flavors combined. But I had gotten a bag of fresh cheese curds for you guys to have, and then Kurt and his girlfriend came over last night, and they're like, "Hey, can we have some of them?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I was kind of." So that's kind of why he showed up
Nice.
and gave them to us today.
And
So-
it seems to be, I don't eat dairy products, but it seems to be a Wisconsin thing. If people from out of state who have lived in Wisconsin now can't get them, they're eager to have you send it.
I think it's
Yep.
getting to be more of a Midwest thing, but still definitely a Wisconsin
Yeah.
trend, if you will.
There are stewardesses that'll pick up DuPont cheese curds to take with them on their flights,
Yeah.
Okay.
so that they can give them away. And if you're at the airport too, they're available.
And is this a byproduct of the dairy industry that somebody figured out I can make some money selling what's left over?
It's basically a
Question.
super young cheddar. And so that process of making it cheese curls, and instead of pressing it tight into a mold as a cheddar, I think I get this right.
Is it cheddar or is it Colby, Tom?
Or maybe a Colby.
I think
But
it
it's
might be
just-
Colby.
It hasn't been pressed into a form, and that curdly, lumpy look and feel. It's a regular cheese. It's a
And
high quality cheese.
what
It's
is it
young.
about this? It squeaks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that a
that's
thing?
what is about that. That is a unique thing. Not every cheese
Can we
curd you
pick that
have
up
is
on the
gonna
mics?
squeak.
I don't know if you can.
Well, somebody try.
Take a few bites and then spit it out. Tony's kind of lactose intolerant.
do it.
But yeah, my wife Lonnie.
I mean, is it something as it hits the enamel? It seems to be something rubbing again. we getting that?
Are the
I
squeaks coming
almost
up?
choked on my cheese curds. I looked and like, what the hell? But my wife Lonnie, when she went to visit my daughter Madison in California a month or so ago, yeah, she was at the airport and they had cheese curds. Oh, and Maddie loves dairy and cheese, and she was very happy to get some fresh.
See, this is what sets us apart from other podcasts. We're willing to do the
Yes.
difficult things. Others just won't even
But
attempt.
the long-winded version, and we'll get to candy on another episode. It's a long-winded version of string cheese when they're fresh. Like DuPont does them Thursdays and Fridays, and when they're fresh, the bag will be a little bit moist, like there's a little bit of a water residue.
Oh.
But if they get to be a day or two old, you can leave them out on the counter. They don't have to be refrigerated. But after a day or two, some of that water gets absorbed.
Into
And then stale or older cheese curds are great for, you can zap them in a microwave. They're still okay. It's not like
Right.
fresh. But you can buy old cheese curds at DuPont that are a week or two older. But those are great for deep frying battered. And boy, oh boy, if you want to get me sick on a fattening
Deep
food,
fried?
man, deep fried
Oh,
cheese curds,
yeah.
I could just eat a pile.
Isn't that why
Oh,
cheese
those are
was invented?
good.
It was a way to preserve milk
I wonder.
over longer.
I don't know.
You could keep it longer.
It's probably was something that they found accidentally, though,
Yeah,
don't
well,
you
I'm
think?
sure like beer. That was discovered, as I understand it, accidentally.
Dan, where's that bottle opener? Right there. Thank you. All right, last beer. This is a collector item. We're
Absolutely.
not going to get these people as a sponsor. Pigeon
Unfortunately,
River
we could have.
was a nice brewery in Marion, but they have closed up after 4 or 5 years. How long were they there, Ben?
Longer than that.
And this says Heritage Hefeweiser. That looks dangerous.
Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen?
Hefeweizen.
Oh, it does have it. I'm guessing
Hefeweizen.
darker? Nope, it's light.
No,
very light.
Everything is heavy on the light beers here. Good.
Okay.
Craig, do you have a stash of some old
No,
Pigeon
there
River
was,
stuff?
there was one left there.
I have one of their Sundrop flavored ones in the basement.
Boy, that's really sharp right up front.
Yeah.
Can you?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's your cup right there.
That is
I'm
sharp.
being
And
lazy.
Hmm.
Here, I'll tell you what, Craig. It's yours. You polish that baby off.
Oh boy.
there you go.
Pigeon River Brewing Company
I don't-
was founded by my one of my students, Nathan Canuck, and Nathan has now got Pigeon River's recipes are up in Eagle River.
Oh,
So I think that I haven't seen it yet or anything like that, but the whole brewing concept or complex went up to Eagle River and just kind of relocated.
oh, you mean the equipment
Oh, that and
the
him.
recipes?
and the
And
recipes?
him.
Wow.
Oh,
He's up there too, I understand.
maybe that'd be a road trip.
Oh,
this one-
good idea.
Again, I'm not a beer guy, but this one is not one that I like. Like the smell is kind of
This one's got
it's
a
odd, and I don't care for the,
Malty.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I dig this one as much. It's acidic. There's an
Yeah,
acidic.
I think
Yeah.
what, even though I wouldn't necessarily choose these as a first choice, what I like about them is they don't taste like everything else.
a light beer.
Oh,
Bud,
right.
Miller.
I won't mention the names that Tom just mentioned, but pretty standard, boring
Yeah.
is a good word. These are very, very different and unique, and that in itself is worth
That's
it.
a good point. So I wouldn't pursue this one, but if I'm at an event, I would sit back and sip one.
Yep.
And somewhat enjoy it, but
Most of their flavors I really, really enjoy. This one here is probably on the bottom of the scale.
okay.
Some of the other ones I really like a lot. This one here tastes a little bit like there's almost too much malt in it or something.
Is that it?
I don't know.
Interesting. Craig, the one that they had that was infused with Sundrop, it was Dewdrop, or what did they call it? They couldn't call it Sundrop.
I think they did call it Dewdrop, and at first they had a partnership with Sundrop out of Shawano where they were making that, and then that I don't know if that continued or not, but it became ridiculously popular.
yeah.
And again, that wouldn't have been my first choice
Yeah, and I
either,
didn't
but some
care for
people
it.
really, really
Sure.
like it.
Sundrop is like a Mountain Dew Mellow Yellow, local, very, very popular beverage. But there was also an issue that state of Wisconsin or whomever, that you can't have a alcohol, which is a depressant, with a caffeinated
Stimulant?
beverage because that's a stimulant, and people would go
What?
crazy.
Interesting.
Oh, that's
So they had
interesting.
to formulate. I thought I had heard
I'm
they had
glad
to
someone's
formulate
looking out for us.
Yeah.
free Sundrops.
And that technically was not a beer, that was more of a shandy.
What's
And
a
a
shandy?
shandy is where you take a beer and you mellow it down with like a lemonade or something like that.
I have a
Leinenkugels.
Okay.
Yep,
Summer
Leinenkugel
shandy?
has
Yeah,
Leinenkugel shandies. Man, oh man, the first time I ever had a shandy, ever, in Germany, in a little town where Hitler's Eagle's Nest is at. We went on an all-day hike. First of all, we started the morning. We went on this salt mine tour. So amazing salt mine tour. We saw. We first of all, to get down into the mine, we went on this little cart. Boom, 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 boom. So we took that down there. We walked. There was like 4 different means of transportation that we had to use to get on there. Ride on this little cart, and then there was this banister thing that you'd climb on, and you had pants. They gave you these leather pants, and you'd have like a leather crotch on these things because you'd go whoop. You'd go down these series of banisters to get down into the salt mine.
Really?
And what they did is they chisel out these areas, flood them with water so that the salt would kind of fill in that cavity, and then it would, I don't know, it would separate from the water.
You pump it out. and
slowly
then
drain the
dry it.
water. And
Yeah, and then they'd pump it all out, and
Interesting.
voila, you'd have that. So that was the start of our morning. Then we actually went to, myself and a couple other students hiked our way up to the Eagle's Nest, which was, man, it was, they purposely carved trails out on the hilltops that went this way, so that you could kind of go back and forth and back and forth. And if you were ambitious, you could kind of take a shortcut and just kind of go straight up. But we got up to the top of that. We went into the golden elevator just to get to the top of this thing. It was pretty awesome. And then we didn't, because we hiked up there, we didn't have bus passes to get back down. So we had to, it's like almost a 5-mile hike back down this thing. We didn't have any water. We didn't take any preparations. Thankfully, we ran into like an American soldier who was on his vacation. He's like, yeah, here, you guys better take this. You're going to need this.
Wow.
So we kind of made it back down, and we were just absolutely thirsty as heck. We got back to our hotel room just in time for supper, and they had shanty for us. And
you
it's like,
drank a bucket.
it's a thirst quenching
yeah.
beer because of that lemonade part.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Typically a beer is, it will dehydrate you. Whereas if
Right,
you have
right,
that
alcohol
little
does.
bit of shanty in there, it actually makes it more hydrating. Oh, it
I
was
thought it was
so
a
good.
Shandy.
It could be.
I believe
It is with a D.
With a D.
I have a.
But the Germans
niece,
pronounce it shanty.
my niece Tara, who's probably not listening. She says she ran a half marathon or a 5K or something, and had a beer afterward, and it was the best beer ever in her life. Partly because she was so
Anything would have been
thirsty.
Yeah.
But I should find out from her what that beer was. Before I forget, we're at about that we are at the half-hour mark. We're running out of time, but I do want to talk extensively about elephant dung. So
Tom,
if you guys are
not
prepared
again.
for that,
Again?
I felt like we covered that.
Yeah, he wanted to
Every
do
day.
this like 3 times ago. Forget it. It's
Get him
not.
off camera, and the only thing he wants to talk about.
all right. Hey, thanks for tuning into Smokescreen. We will catch you guys another time.
Comments in the section below.
Yeah, comments.
Topics,
Tom, you can't
ideas,
keep bringing
response.
up that topic. That's dumb. We've all agreed.
Why elephant?
dung?
I'll get
Was
to
it
it
the
in
Beatles again?
Next episode.
The
We're going to get
Beatles?
to it
Give us 2 reasons why we should do that one in
in
the
the next episode.
Okay.
I
Give
didn't
us
realize,
one.
Craig, you actually, or Dan, did you like the cigar?
I did light it
And then it just went out.
with my mind.